Okay, so I have shared my whiteboard.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about completing square method today. Let's discuss that using an example. So the very first example is question number 1, part A. It is x squared plus 4x. This is the question. Okay, now we know that. I'll just write down the quadratic formula here. So we know that a plus b whole square. This is a complete square. This is a square number because it is basically, if I take the under root of a plus b whole square, I would get a plus b. So 16 is square, 4 is square, 49 is square. I know that whenever I am taking the under root of any square number, I would get a whole number, right? So this is basically a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. In order to complete the square, I need something here such that I get this thing. Okay, so this something would come using this idea. So it is 2ab. In my case, I have x squared plus 4x. So I'll be using the terms a and b for reference, although we have
Yeah.
x and 4 here. Okay, so
Yeah.
this is a squared plus 2a, that is x, into, in order to make 4, I will be multiplying 2, right?
Yeah.
So I need to square this number, that would be 2 squared. Now obviously this is maths. I cannot square something directly.
Yeah.
I need to subtract as well, just so it makes sense. So I will
Yeah.
do minus 2 squared. Okay, and now for this, I am going to have, since we have the plus sign, so I'll be using this, and this would be x plus 2 square
Yeah.
minus 4. This is going to be the answer, right?
Yeah.
Okay, very good. So which part should I do now?
The part 3 and question 3.
Question 3, part C.
Yeah.
Question 3 in which part?
B.
Okay, B.
B. Yeah.
Okay. All right, so let's talk about the third question now. We know the basics. So question number 3, part B. It is 5x squared minus 15x plus 3. Okay. It is, write each of these expressions in the form. The form is p x plus q whole square plus r, where p, q, and r are constants to be found. Okay, this is the part we need to do. All right. So first thing is that again we need to complete square. So for
Yeah.
completing square, rule number 1 is, I did not talk about that initially because we did not, had to use it. Okay. The thing is that you need to make sure while completing square that you have x square only. So I am
Yeah.
going to take 5 common, and I will make a big bracket, and now I have x squared minus 3x plus 3 by 5. And now I am going to complete the square here. So it is going to be 5 is out, x squared minus 3x. Now I'll tell you a quick method. Yes, in the last example, I was referring to that 2ab thing, but obviously now we know the method. So we will just take the half of this number written next to x, and the half is 3 by 2. So I am going to add the square of 3 by 2, and I am going to subtract the square of 3 by 2 at the same time. And we already had 3 by 5. Okay, now we have negative sign here. So I Whatever the sign is, that does not matter. I will be
Yeah.
using this one. This is 5 x squared minus 3x plus 3 by 2 square minus 9 by 4 plus 3 by 5. Okay. And
Yeah.
now this is going to be a complete square. So that would be x minus 3 by 2 whole square. And then this fraction would be what? You can just use your calculator and tell me the values, or you can take LCM. Minus 9 by 4 plus 3 over 5. This is minus 33 over 20. And we are still not done because we need to show this form. So the last step would be just multiplying 5 with both the things we have inside the brackets. So it would be 5 into x minus 3 by 2 squared minus 33 over 4. This is going to be the answer. Right, Madiha?
Yes.
Okay. Anything that you have not understood in this question?
No.
Okay. All right. So which question should I do now?
Um, the part E of that question.
Part E.
Yeah.
Okay. So now we are gonna do part E. Are you okay?
Yeah.
Okay. You're coughing. That's
Seasonal.
why. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know. I'm just, making sure these days that I'm eating my vitamins timely. That's why
Yeah.
because if I get this thing, I won't be able to speak. So this time I think the weather and the virus knows that not to get near Kushbakht. Otherwise, I would not be able to manage these classes.
Yeah. Mine's awful. And this time it's really bad. It's still not gone away.
Yeah, inshallah, it would be over. Don't worry. This
Yeah.
is viral. Plus 2x plus 10. Okay. The question initially wasn't this. Let me write down the question first. It's 2x minus 8x squared plus 10. Now, this is the expression. Again, the question is to write this down in the form which we used earlier in the previous example. So we know that we need to complete square here as well, okay? First, you need to write it down properly just so the square term is the first one. So it would be minus 8x squared plus 2x plus 10. Now again, step 1 is to separate x square. For that, I'll take minus 8 common. So minus 8 would be out. This is x squared minus 1 by 4 x plus 10 by 8, that would be 5 by 4. So this is going to be minus 8 x squared minus, I need to change the sign as well. This would be a negative sign. And this would be minus 5 by 4. Okay. So step 1 is to separate x squared. For that, I had to take minus 8 out. When I will take minus 8 out, this would be x squared. This would be minus 1 by 4, because now when I will multiply minus 8 with minus 1 by 4, I would get 2. And when I will multiply minus 8 by minus 10 by 8, I would get 10. Okay. And I've just
Yeah.
cancelled this. So this would be 4 times, this is 5 times, 2 is 10. And this is what I am going to get. Okay, now I am in the form that I can complete the square. So minus 8 would be on one side. I'll use this bracket. X squared minus 1 by 4x. Half of this number would be 1 by 8. I need to add half of this number and square that, and I need to subtract half of this number and square that again, and then we have minus 5 by 4 This one. Okay. For the next steps, I will write down -8 as it is. Square bracket open. This is a complete square. I have minus as the sign, so this would be x minus 1/8 squared.
Yeah.
And then I would have minus 1/64 divided by, plus minus 5/4. So this would be minus 81/64. This is minus 81/64. And now I'll be multiplying it with this term and with this term. So this would become minus 8
Yep.
x minus 1/8 squared plus 81/8.
Okay.
This is going to be the answer, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Anything that you have not understood in this question?
No.
Okay, that's good. So should we do question 4 or which question?
Yeah. Can I do the question for myself?
Yeah,
See if I
sure,
do it
sure.
right.
Sure. Okay.
I've done it.
Yes, and what are you getting?
X minus 3/2 squared
Mm-hmm.
plus 15/4.
Okay, everything is correct. The only problem is that it should be x plus 3/2, okay? Because you have x squared plus 3x, okay? So if you have plus 3x, the 2ab term is positive. So that
Yeah.
means you would have positive sign in the square thing, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That is the only mistake. Otherwise, very good. Okay. Should I do question 5 now?
Yeah.
Okay. Are you guys studying quadratics in school now?
No, it's one of the older topics
Okay.
from like September.
Yeah, exactly. This is what I was thinking. Okay. So it is the 5th question. It says, write 2 plus 0.8x minus 0.04 x squared. This is 0 and this is also 0. In the form a minus b x plus c squared, where a, b, c are constants. Okay, this time around, we need to make it in this form. Now this is different, okay? We can write this way as well. Minus b x plus c squared plus a. This is the same thing. This is the only difference this time we have. Otherwise, it's the same thing. Let's see what exactly difference it is going to make in the solution. Okay. Completing square would be the same. The only changes would be made in the ending. So I'll rewrite this just so it's more understandable. minus 0.04 x squared plus 0.8 x plus 2. This is your equation, quadratic equation. Now I will take 0.04 common, and this would be x squared plus 0.8 divided by 0.04. So I can change the sign. This would be negative. This is x, and then minus 2 by 0.04. Okay. Now I can simplify this. This is 1 time, and this is going to be 20 times, right? And then
Yes.
if I do for this one, so yeah, that would be 1 by something. So let's write it down this way for now. Okay. Minus 0.04 would come as it is. I'll write down x squared minus 20x and then minus 2 by 0.04, that is going to be 50. And now I can complete the square, minus 0.04. Okay, now we can complete the square, but we need to, now you can do it like 2 ways, okay? First thing is that this is not a simple question. You are not supposed to complete the square only. You need to make it look like this. So this has plus here. Either you can just do all the working and then change the sign. Either you can do it that way, or you can just make the changes for now. Okay, so if they want you to do it with a positive sign, we can think about it. Okay, so we have minus 0.04 outside. Yes, are you getting my point? What exactly is the issue this time around?
Yes.
Okay, so for that I can just, let's just try doing it directly and then I'll tell you the other method. Okay, so it would be x squared minus 20x and then half of this number, that would be 10 squared, and then minus 10 squared, and then minus 50. This is what I am going to have, and then minus 0.04, sorry, yeah, and then this is a complete square, so I can write it down this way, x minus 10 whole squared and then minus 100 and then minus 50, and this is going to give me negative 0.04 x minus 10 squared minus 150, and now I'll multiply this with this term and the other term, so it would be negative 0.04 x minus 10 squared, and then plus, you need to do minus 150 into minus 0.04, so that is going to give you 6. Okay, now you will see how I am going to write this in the answer form. So it is 6 minus 0.04 x plus minus 10 squared. This is the answer. The only thing is that C, their C would be a negative number, minus 10. That is it. Okay, this is the only method you can You can only do it by this method, okay? So C would be
Yeah.
basically a negative number, so you can just add the negative sign here in the number and write down in the positive way, right? To the positive
Yes.
sign. Okay. So this was the fifth question. This was the last question of the first exercise. So which question should I do now? Exercise 2D, question 1, and then part.
The last part of question 1.
Okay, the D part.
Yeah.
Okay. The question is, solve these quadratic equations by completing the square. Leave your answers in the third form. It is question number 1, part D. X squared minus 10x equals 5. Now, what exactly is the third form? If you have any form that has under the root something, plus
Yeah.
minus something, even if it's under the root 2, all these are thirds, okay? So we will see how are we going to get the form. Okay, now this is a quadratic equation. By now, I'm pretty sure that you would be knowing all the methods of solving the quadratic equation, right? But this time around, they want you to use the completing square method and then solve this. So let's do that. Now for completing square, I don't need this number. In all the examples before this one, this number 5, in the first example, it was 1. In the second one, it was 3. In the third one, it is minus 2, right? And question 1, part A, B, C. So they, all these numbers were written here, okay? But since I would not be using them, so I would not be taking 5 to the other side. I'll keep 5 there. And I'll complete the square on the left hand side. So it would be x squared minus 10x. Then I am going to add half of this number 5. I'll square it, then I'll subtract half of that number. I'll square that equals 5. Now this is complete square. X, this is a negative sign, so I'll write down minus. This is b.
Yes.
This is 5 squared minus 25 equals 5. Now you are done with the completing square thing. The next
Yes.
part is to solve it. Now, how do we solve any equation in the world, even if it's linear, even if it's quadratic? Our end goal, our end target is to make x the subject of the equation. So I am going to take this 25 to the other side. So it would become minus 5 square equals 30. Now I'll take under root on both sides just to get rid of the square. So that would become x minus 5 square equals under the root 30. These two would be cancelled. And finally, I'm going to have x equals 5 plus minus under the root 30. This is your answer, right? And this is the third form. Now this was quadratic equation, so obviously we know that we would be having two solutions for x, right?
Yes.
Okay, you can try, let's say, try doing the second part B, question 1, part B.
Question 1, part B.
Yeah, you can try doing
Okay.
this, okay?
Is it going to be -6 plus or minus √33?
Very good. Excellent. Yes, that is correct. All right. So which question should I do now? Question 2, part what?
Question 2, part C.
Part C. Okay. Question number 2, part C. Okay. The question is, solve these quadratic equations by completing the square. Leave your answers in the third form. And there's part C. So it is 4x squared minus x minus 8 equals 0. Now this is the question. In order to do it, step 1 is to separate this. We know that. I'll take 4 out, and this would be x squared minus x by 4 minus 2. That is it. And you think about half of the coefficient of x, that is initially 1 by 4 and half would be 1 by 8.
Yeah.
So it would be minus x by 4. I need to add the square. And I need to subtract that as well. Okay. So it would be 4 x squared minus x by 4 plus 1 by 8 square, and then we have minus 1 by 64 minus 2. So what are we going to get for that? Minus 129 by 64.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I am in the form. I can just complete the square. So it would be 4x, this is negative sign, minus 1 by 8 squared minus 129 over 64. Now 4 would be multiplied with this number and with that number. Remember, the end goal is to complete the square. Okay, now I'll give you a good tip. This is equal to 0. This is equal to 0. And this is also equal to 0, right? So instead of multiplying this 4, I'll just divide it on the other side. So I would get rid of that, and finally I'm going to get x minus 1 by 8 squared equals 129 by 64. Now I'll take square root on both sides, and this would be x minus 1 by 8, and this would become plus minus under the root 129 divided by 64.
Yeah.
So that would give you 129 by 8. So plus minus 129 by 8. And now I need to take this 1 by 8 to the other side. So it would be x equals 1 by 8 plus minus under the root 129 over 8. This is going to be the answer, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So this was the second question.
Yes.
Yeah, we can do the third question because that is a past paper question, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. It is x square minus 14x plus 1 equals x plus p square plus q, where p and q are constants. Find the values of p and q. Okay. Now you need to find the values of P and Q. So we can do that by the comparison method. It
Yeah.
is question number 3. We have x squared minus 14x plus
Yeah.
1 equals x plus P squared plus Q. This is the question. Okay, now I'll start with the left hand side. I'll make the form look like the form we have at the right hand side, and then I
Yeah.
can make comparisons. Left hand side is nothing but x squared minus 14x plus 1. And this is the completed square thing. So I need to complete the square. So that would be x squared minus 14x. I need to add and subtract the square of half of 14. That would be 7. 7 squared minus 7 squared plus 1. This is the complete square thing, so it would be x. This is negative sign. Always make sure that you are using the right sign. A minus b, so that would be x minus 7 squared minus 49 plus 1. And I am going to get x minus 7 squared minus 48. Okay. Now, Badiha, can you tell me the values of P and Q?
Would they be 7 and no, minus 7 and minus 48?
Very good. Yes, that is why I was asking you. You need to make sure that you take this negative sign in 7. Just so we can write it down this way.
Yeah.
So P is going to be minus 7 and Q is going to be minus 48. Okay. Let's talk about the next part. It says, using your answer to part A or otherwise, show that the solutions to the equation x squared minus 14x plus 1 can be written in the form r plus minus s under root 3, where r and s are constants to be found. Okay. Now, you can either use this thing or you can do it otherwise. Now, when they say otherwise, it means we have been solving so many quadratic equations that by now we know we can do it by middle term breaking, or we can use the quadratic formula, right? So we
Yes.
can use this directly because we are on this chapter. We have been using the other forms already. Let's just use this. Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay. So we need to solve x squared minus 14x plus 1. That can be written as x minus 7 squared minus 48, and this should be equal to 0. Now it would be x minus 7 squared equals 48, and it is going to be x minus 7. I'll take square root on both sides. So under the root, 48 would become plus minus 4 under the root 3, and it is x equals plus minus 4 under the root 3 plus 7. And now this certainly is in the form they wanted us to find, right? So
Yeah.
it was r plus minus s under root 3. So r is 7 and s is 4, right? So this answer is
Yeah.
shown basically. Okay, this was the second part. Now, obviously, in these questions where the examiner says otherwise, you could have used any other method that you were comfortable with,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But since we are studying this, completing the square thing, so I just wanted to use this method and then solve the quadratic equation, because this is the method students, they don't really prefer using this. When you have the quadratic
Oh,
formula, obviously, you won't
yeah.
waste your time in doing this until and unless the
Yeah.
examiner tells you to, find the answer in using this
Yeah.
method, or yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, we are done with the third question. Should we do the fourth one now?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's try doing question number 4. It says, by completing the square, show that the solutions to the equation x squared plus 2bx plus c equals 0 are given by the formula x minus p plus minus under the root b squared minus c. Okay, this is x equals, yeah, okay. This is similar to the quadratic formula, but since the equation is not the general one, that is why it is a different formula. So it's just a simple question. Let's just not get into the depth. Okay, now for this question, we know that in order to solve this, we can just use the completing square sign. So it would be x squared plus this number comes as it is, that is 2bx plus. I'll square half of the coefficient. The coefficient is 2b, half would be b. So I'll square b. I'll do minus b square plus c equals 0. Now this is a complete square. I'll do x plus b squared plus c minus b squared equals 0.
Yeah.
And now in order to solve this, I can just, make x the subject. That would become x plus b squared equals
B squared
b
minus
squared
C.
minus c. X plus b, I'll take under root on both the sides. So it would be b squared minus c. Whenever you're taking under root, always remember you would have plus minus sign.
Minus,
X equals minus b plus minus under the root b squared minus c. So this is what we were supposed to show. Okay, so this was a 4-mark question, and yeah, that is it. Okay, we are done with this.
Yeah.
Okay, and so what should we do now?
And the challenge ones.
Okay, all right. So let's do the first part. Okay, it says show that the solutions to the equation, and write down the equation ax squared plus 2bx plus c equals 0 are given by x equals minus b by a plus minus under the root b square minus ac over a squared. Okay, yes, this is what we have. So we need to show that the solutions of this equation are given by this. Now, you have 2 methods of doing this, okay? First method could be, let me check the previous part as well. Yes, in the previous part, they said by completing the square method. That is why I did not talk about this method for the first part. You need to show that these are the solutions. Either you can find the solutions, we can do that easily now. The second method is that you can just plug in this value of x in the equation and you can show that you are getting 0. Are you getting my point?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's try doing it by first finding the solutions. So it is, I can take a out. So when I will take a common, it would be x squared plus 2bx over a plus c over a equals 0. This is what I am going to get. Now, I'll just get rid of this a. I'll divide it on the other side and I will have x squared plus 2b by ax. Now, what would be half of 2b by a? It would be b by a. So I need to add b by a square. I need to subtract b by a square, and I already had plus c by a equals 0. Any doubts about this?
No.
Okay. This is the complete square thing, so I can write it down as x plus b over a square, and now this would give me minus b square over a square plus c by a equals 0. Okay, now let's just simplify this. So I would have x plus b by a square. I can write it down this way, plus c by a minus b square by a square. Okay, now I can write down plus, I can take the LCM. The LCM of a and a square would be what, Madiha?
LCM?
LCM of a and a square. It would be a squared, right?
The LCM of a and?
Yeah, just like the LCM of 9 and 81, the least common multiple. So it is
Oh,
9,
okay.
okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So it would be a squared. So that would become CA minus B squared equals 0. And now I am going to take this thing to the other side. So it would be x plus b by a squared equals negative CA minus b squared over a squared. We'll multiply this negative sign here and here, and this would become plus b squared minus ac over a squared, right?
Yeah.
And now I need to get rid of the square, so I'll be taking under the root on both the sides. So that would be with plus minus sign, this would be cancelled. And finally, I will get x equals minus b by a plus minus under the root b squared minus ac over a squared. Yes, this is how we solve it. Okay, so this is the first method. You could have just plugged in the value of x in the formula, and you could have shown that this is equal to 0. So are you interested in that method as well?
Yeah.
Okay, let's try doing that as well, because when it says show, you can use any method. You don't care about what method it is.
Yes.
In the previous part, they said that you need to complete the square. That is
Yeah.
why I did not use this method. Okay. So if we talk about the second method, this is the equation and this is what the solution they're claiming. You can just plug
Yeah.
in both of these, okay? So let's just plug in with the positive sign and then with the negative sign. So it is A. Now I need to do it by minus B by A plus under the root B square minus AC over A squared squared plus 2b. It would be a long method, but just for the sake of understanding, you
Yeah.
can try doing it. Plus under the root b square minus ac over a squared plus c.
Yeah.
Okay, and we'll show that it is 0. Okay, we won't write down equal to 0. We'll just simplify this, and at the end, we'll show that this is equal to 0.
Oh, okay.
This is
Yeah.
the left hand side. Okay, now I'll work on the
Yeah.
simplification. So this is equal to A. I have two things and I have square outside. So how do I do it? I can do it this way. This number squared. So this
Yeah.
number squared would be B squared by A squared, then
Yeah.
plus. Now
Yeah.
I won't be having plus because I have minus 2AB, right? So it would be
Yeah.
minus 2B by A into under the root of this would be under the root B square minus
This.
AC. This A
Yeah.
square would become A and I can just add the square here, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So how do we do it? This number squared, then plus 2AB, since we had a negative sign, that is why I have minus 2 into B by A square, and then under the root B square minus 4AC, and then finally plus square of the big term. I'm just gonna rub some arrows, and yeah, this one. So it
Okay.
would be square of this one, so that would be B square minus AC over A square,
A
right?
square. Yeah.
Okay, plus, and now I can just multiply this. So this is going to be, because I would have to multiply this at the end, so let's just do it here.
Okay.
Minus 2B squared over
Yeah.
A
Yeah.
plus 2B under the root B squared
Minus
minus AC over
over.
A,
Yeah.
right? Plus C. Okay, now I'll multiply A. So that would become B square over A. Then I'll multiply A with this term. It would become minus 2B by A
Yeah.
under the root B square minus 4AC plus
Yeah.
B square minus AC over A minus 2B square over A plus 2B under the root B square minus AC over A plus C. Now it's the time to just cancel out some same terms. So this factor is just like this one. I would
That
cancel
one.
them
Yeah.
and I can do some simplification. So
Yes.
this term is same
Yeah.
like this one. So B square minus B square over A minus 2 B square over A would be minus B square over A, right?
Yes.
Plus B square AC minus A plus C. Okay, now I'm going to do the next steps there. Okay, now I can take LCM. The LCM is going to be A minus B squared plus B squared minus AC plus C. This and this
Yeah.
will be cancelled, and
Yeah.
we are left with minus AC by A plus C.
See.
A and A is cancelled. Minus
Yeah.
is 0. That is.
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
So yes,
Yeah.
obviously this method is time taking. It was long. The other one was easier, but it's just difficult because we had under the root thing and stuff like that. But the only thing I wanted to emphasize on by doing this method is always know whenever you have been asked to show something, you have the leverage to just use any method. You don't need to just pick up a specific method and show that using some specific method. If the examiner wants you to use that method, he or she would tell you, okay? Otherwise, it's just your choice. You can use any method and then just do it, right? So did you understand the first part? Yes, Madiha, can you hear me?